Man, information is so easy to get these days. You could just go online, and as long as you got creative ideas, you can get information. And they say that it's free. However, anything that's free has been financed and paid for by some form of a rand note or an exchange for it to even be made available. So that's why we always have to pay homage and give back by spending money on the internet, because I mean it's our only avenue to exchange free information. Amazing. But what I want to speak on is, in the Bible, it speaks about Mary, and it talks about different Marys in the Bible, and they're patterned in different masks, different versions. You have the mother, the concubine, the wife, six different versions. The mother to the daughter, the mother to the son. Six different versions of Mary, and I'm going into how this is the true marriage ritual. In the term marriage, you see Mary. Because it takes, to be truly married, you have to go through an initiation. And it takes years to even get acquainted with your wife. So that's where they trick you at. You think you take her home and that's it. And you watch Love and Hip Hop or Married with Children and get old. But that's not the case. Or that shouldn't be the case. Your marriage is a journey. You may not even get to know your wife in true essence, according to the way it was taught in the mystery schools. I mean, so you have society and the mystery school. In this day, you want to be rich, you have to do stuff the way they did it in the mystery school. Society and its capitalism and the solution is melting down because of the fact that we're changing and going back into what we were. So we have to demonstrate marriage on a different level now, meaning that you should take time to fully get into sharing your whole life with your wife. This is what I teach my people that are into the occult and advanced teachings. You should take time to get to know her and the different six versions of her, because that's what's going to come out. And if you abuse that and spend too much time around her in the early points, you're going to get tired. You're not going to be able to be married till death do us part. See, they thought when death do us part, that meant that you was just boom married and that's it. You own that, not knowing that you have to grow with that person. So they took these vows and contracts, when I say they, in society, from mystery schools, man. And they never paid off what they took. So they got you living in a version of what was supposed to be. And I'm going to show you through a ritual of what I'm speaking of, just through a sample, because we were able to move our team all the way up to the number one slot through these teachings in the occult. And that's what we'll be talking about in the future, how that was done through demonstrating some of the stuff that I'm talking about, and demonstrating true version of the marriage contract, and myself making a treaty with six different women to play out this version of the matrix and what we finna go through. I had to put myself up there as an example and look crazy. You've seen some of the stuff that's been on this channel, but I have to show the opposite side of the glass. Like they have the clean glass and the dirty glass, so I have to show the clean version based on the occult. Some people may look at it as the dirty version, though. I'm going to talk about that too in the future. Because if you truly want to get into the occult and demonstrate this, you're going to be forced to be rich. You have no other choice. And when you get rich in this society, they still look at you as being dirty, even though you may be doing it from a metaphysical perspective. What do I mean by that? Well, some of the stuff that I had to do to get to this point where I'm at with this bigger version of the ritual, because we just moved our team to the number one slot. As promised, it's credit, and I was given a key as proof that I invested and financed into moving the Cincinnati Reds up to the top spot. And like, what does this have to do with marriage? Oh, it has everything to do with it, and marry. And you'll see, because you have to make your wife a queen first. And if she's a queen, you have to prove that her family and everybody has to be of royalty and has to have some form of proof of why they're the queen, meaning that they have to be at the top of something, or a king, and for that matter. And you, as a husband, are the financier. See, everybody was worried about getting their rocks off and the sex part, and not really focusing on securing the math. And that's where the husband comes in at. And it's in your report and your job to put your woman into a credit situation so that you can receive finance. This is how you finance yourself as a sovereign. She acts as the executor, as I spoke of your estate. So you have these six Marys and they have different functions. And in her being the executor of your estate, she acts as this is why the queen has so many more moves in chess. You know that she can move like 6 or 8 different ways, actually, 8 different directions. Why 8? Because she acts as, well, actually, it's 10 different ways, I believe. Hold up. 12 different ways, I believe. I have to look at the board to make sure, but she can move like up to 12 different directions. Like on a chessboard, she can move horizontal, diagonal, and you're stuck in one position as a sovereign. People wonder why. They're like, why you ain't got nothing? Because you have to have keys. You have to have a queen or a group of women even that you're working with as a sovereign to get to that point. And they're going to call you dark and make you look like some form of a pimp. And they're not going to want to help you and donate and things of that nature because of the fact that this is not what society taught in the beginning. This is not what they taught of how things were supposed to go. So when you see it in the beginning, it looks evil. It does. It looks very evil and demonic and ritualistic. And what I mean by that is because there's a lot of darkness to get to unlocking billions of dollars. When you start getting into unlocking different levels of math, which is what it's going to take to get us back into our kingdom and bring our kingdom back, you're going to have to unlock a lot of different levels of wealth. And some of this stuff doesn't look nowhere near the way you think it would. What I mean by that, you think you just get rich and you live a life of ease and you never have to work a job again. Your mind is stuck because in this level, you have to unlock certain wealth to get to a certain other level in society of peace of mind and contentment. See, until economic problems are solved, we'll never ascend. We'll never do it because we have economic issues and economic problems that are stopping us. People, your neighbors, like they say, you're only as rich as your neighbor, that's stopping you from seeing wealth. So there has to be a leader, someone that puts themselves up there. So that's what I decided to do in these teachings. And the mastery of the six Marys is important because it's a form of a weapon too. What do I mean by that? See, Mary moved up under a cloak. So someone may see you with your wife and they may want her. So they may decide when you're away from her to go, they recognize her to go talk to her. But see, Mary would have had a double that looked just like her that was inserted into the wife position to keep away targeters, people that are targeting. See, this is some of the stuff that I had to do. And they get evil because people are evil. See, they want to take over what you're doing because they're jealous. So you have to have a defense mechanism. You are a security agent when it comes to your wife or your family. Like you have to protect them, but in a way to where it's not just physical fighting, but protecting them in a way to where you are secure in your mind and you know how to avoid conflicts, keep them away from conflicts that may potentially turn hazardous because people want to take over your estate. We're talking about. I'm gonna get into the tiers in a minute, like what $1 million will look like in this world, what $1 billion will look like in this world. Because you got to remember everything that you know based on this teaching, I'm reteaching you. So a millionaire to us is one thing, but to you it's another. A billionaire to us is one thing, but to you it's another. A trillionaire to us is one thing, but to you it's another. In this society, you notice there are no nothing past a trillionaire. That's a lie. There's people that are way richer than just $1 trillion, believe it or not. And they don't report that. They take it off the map because they don't want you to know about the top of this grid. And as you master this with lifestyle, you'll never see the wealth aspect. See, this is what I've been waiting on to teach people is like, Everyone said it was going to come a time where we were going to experience unlimited progress, meaning that we would get everything that we wanted. But everybody's like, well, who's going to bring this idea and this doctrine? How is it going to happen? And this is what I really honestly feel like myself and others, our job is to do, is to show you the full version of the occult, minus all the bullshit. What I mean by that, look at all of these teachers that came close. L. Ron Hubbard, Dr. York, and all of these people. What do they always do? They either send an IRS at you. They use your family like they just did me. Come to find out, some of the stuff that I went through on the bridge that I reported on the video, a couple videos back, about racism, was they paid off white people. Believe it or not, some people that I know, or supposedly know, to do a psych op on me. Had I not been secure up here, I could have ended up dead or in jail behind that. Just like Malachi York, he ended up in jail behind something that he pled innocent to. Believe it or not, he switched his plea. But regardless to the fact, whatever he was innocent or guilty, the bottom line is that you only end up in these scenarios when you don't have enough money to visa the whole scenario. No one can tell you what to do, but there are financial limits. And that's where the technology comes in and the beings that come from the future, because they come to stop and to quarantine people that aren't initiated and aren't demonstrating what I'm speaking on in a proper way. And you have a group of beings that come from the future that if you don't have enough money to visa, they'll come in and top you, stop you from exceeding and growing a community. So I never thought I would be put into this situation. I'm fearful every day because it's so scary, but this is what I have to do. And I never thought I would get to a point where I have to actually ask people for help, even though I'm tied into all of this so-called finances. They're like, why can't you just fund it yourself? Because this is the thing that people don't get. When you're a sovereign, you're given a credit card or a bank account, depending on how it's set up, or a set of cash, just depending on what level you're on in the beginning. And see, at that point, that's it for you. From there, you have to refund and fund people. And that's where it gets harder, because you may have access to trillions, but this is your own currency. Meaning that when you take it to another market, it's worth nothing to them. And that's where I get set up at. So you have to actually fund yourself and create a stream of line of income for yourself, and to prove that to people as your currency, and then eventually be able to trade those notes for other notes and other economies and other currency notes and things of that nature. So I never thought I would be put into a situation like this, but this is what it's turned into, because I have to keep making these videos. I cannot let the enemy stop this. So if you've been helping out and you're saying you haven't been getting products, you got to remember our number one product is information. The information you get and the context you get from being on this channel, the celebrities that are always on here. We should have no problem. Like right now, our account is at zero. We should always have $10 in our account. Somebody donate $10, please. Thank you in advance. I know they will. But we should always have $10. And our account is 13soundsastrology@gmail.com. It should never be a time where people do PayPal. It should never be a time where people feel like, you broke, you ain't get no more donations. You should never let them see that. For people that aren't bold enough to stand up and just want to contribute. So I'm going to go ahead and shut down. I'm going to talk more about the future of this movement. Till then, stay peaceful.